Alrighty everybody, and welcome back to Karatha's channel. I know it's been quite some time since I've brought you guys any sort of new content, so today I will be covering Cyber Rebellion, which is a newly released game on Global approximately 3.5-ish weeks ago, as of today, the 5th of December in 2023. So this is going to be more of explaining a little bit about the game, but more focused towards on a new player's guide, how to optimize progress, what types of things to look for, what types of things are not really explained very well in the tutorials and such. And in doing so, I'm going to display and showcase a little bit on my guidebook, which is linked here inside of the Discord. If we swap over to the Discord, right here on the top, we have our main three guides right here. So Rookie Science, that's Paradox, he's another fellow person I've worked with for a while, and then mine is just going to be linked here. You could find the link, you're free to copy the link or showcase it in any sort of videos or anything that you need to. And so the other thing I will be showcasing is the guidebook here, which I will go ahead and pull up right here on the side, and I'll go over and cover a little bit more on this. So if you go in here on the starboard tab, it'll cover most of all of the different types of tabs that are in here, and you can navigate using these, so you could just follow and click the link. It'll take you straight there. You can see everything here. There should have filters on the top here if you need to sort or change anything. Right here you could sort and filter. It should be a view only filter, so any changes that you do will just be that you see it. Then if you need to return, you could just click back to the starboard, else you could go through and look at the bottom. So anyway, we'll get back to that in a second. So Cyber Rebellion, so you have a whole lot of stuff that goes on in here. I guess the most important thing that you'll visit a lot is going to be your character page right here. There's various sorts of sorting options, so I get sort by rarity. BR is usually what I just sort. The default filter works just fine. Typically you're going to have your 6 characters are going to be your main team. You have your 4 different classes: Destroyer, Assault, Tank, and Support. Destroyer classes are going to be mostly AoE. They will have some sort of support as well in there, but they'll be more of like damage support. Assault are going to be mostly single target DPS characters. These are going to be your big burst. They do have a couple of support damage characters as well. Tanks, they have quite a few varieties of different kinds of tanks. You have support tanks, you have just straight tanks, you have damage tanks. So they're probably the most flexible in terms of you have various types of classes, and each type can do different sorts of functions and such. You have your support characters as well, which are either, I classify them as support characters or as like healers. Generally those are the two. Lots of games like to group them into various types of categories. So as a new player going to be seeing all this sorts of information is not going to make a whole lot of sense initially. So we're just going to go through and explore every single one of the tabs here and explain things. So to start off with, in the store, you're going to have your Sundries tabs. So initially you're only going to have a couple of tabs, and then as you unlock additional modes, you will gain more sorts of things from them. So if you are a free-to-play player, the most important things to buy is going to be this Perfect Skill Codex every month, and then this TacData Basic Pack. Everything else is not as important for free to play, but this daily, if you can, then save up for this Perfect Skill Codex once a month. They are planning on implementing additional ways to get these, but for now you'll want to grab these at least once a month. From the Merit store, it's going to change as you progress throughout the chapters. You will unlock this mod Component Bs, and you'll be able to get these. Primarily, I'd say grab mostly these component interface. Using your points is going to be the most important, as well as the basic anima chips. Initially, if you're free to play, I would focus on getting the basic anima chips first, and then the components, and then if as needed, get these mod components A. For the module store, you'll get these eventually. It's going to be quite a long time before free to play is going to be able to get them, and then you won't be able to unlock these. This store needs a little bit of work. It doesn't have a whole lot of good options, but you'll eventually just pick up these, and then as needed, as you progress throughout the game, you'll pick up more of these. And then we'll explain what all of these are used for later. From here, I think some of the most important ones are going to be picking up these for free-to-play. These weekly limit ones are going to be one of your biggest sources of getting these yellow piece set items. It's going to be the biggest way of getting them for free-to-play, and then eventually you'll be able to get them. These I wouldn't bother buying for free-to-play. I would get these first. If you're a spender, I'd probably get all of these and then the upgrade materials. For the arena, my focus that I do is I get the memory alloy first, and then I get the tesseracts. If you are free to play, I would focus on getting the omni shards first, and then the skill codexes once you've gotten your main characters ranked up for your S characters. And then after this, I would probably get these valuable implants first, because they are for the central interface and it's much harder to get these than it is for these rare implant startups. So that'll be the priority for this shop. For the friendship tab, these you could just spend whenever you need them. I do Tesseract first, and then I will do the Neurocon as needed, and then I will do TacData, and then the prototype skill codex. If I have any friendship points left, then I will get these upgrade materials. Reset master key, you shouldn't really need this unless you just don't have any choice initially, and you just need to build 3 of a different type of class character. Won't really need that. The club store you'll unlock eventually. This is one of the harder resources to get, as in it'll take the most amount of time to be able to get this. So it just depends on how you want to do it. For free to play, I wouldn't really focus on saving up for this, but I definitely get the Tesseract first, then the Neurocon first, and then as needed. These aren't really good. These are just mats that you'll use. So these 2 first, and then I'll get the skill codexes next. And then if you have anything extra, you could consider getting these, but it might be worth saving up for Ghostish. Out of all of the B characters, she looks like she will be one of the better ones to get. For the pack store, the daily free supply is a good value. Here you're going to have various sorts of packs. These aren't really worth it. They're good if you're a spender. You could get maybe one of them, maybe once a week. It just depends on how much you want to spend. That's a good to get you a little boost to get started. This daily recruitment is, it's not the best value. Neither is these ones, but unfortunately, this is one of the few ways to get the Tesseracts. So if you're a spender, you can consider getting one of these. Picking up a couple of these for your first 2 weeks as a spender is good, and then you don't really have to worry about it as much, because you should be able to get 3 initially, 2 from here, and then 1 from this comp core for your monthly purchase. So it'll be 3 off the bat, and it'll take you a while to get them up to max level. Daily modules, not really worth it. Maybe if you're a heavy spender, you could get 1 just to get you bumped started. You get to choose between 4 different kinds, so it's not even the advanced type of modules, so it's not really as good. This special supply it's an okay value if you are a spender and you've bought these Tesseracts, because you'll need them for focusing on SS characters. The weekly implant supply, this is just very overvalued when you could farm these, and then it's not even like you're not even getting much from this, so not very good at all. This confidential cert pack, $15 for 2 tickets for a mode that gives you it's complete RNG to get something, is not worth it whatsoever. Even if you're a heavy spender, it's not worth it. Then you have the weekly combatant supply. This is fairly expensive to get, but it also gives you the most amount of Tesseracts you could get. For value wise, not really worth it as well. Top up store, you hardly ever touch that. The supply cards, you'll also, as a new player, will have an initial supply card here. If you're a spender or even a light spender, it's worth getting. It's probably going to be one of your best values, 10 Tesseracts per day. So if you look at this, it's basically, it's like $20 a day that you're buying from it. And I don't remember the exact cost. I want to say it was like $15 or something like that. If you're a light spender, that is definitely worth getting. And then there is one other card, I believe, for the first week that you could get. It just gives you random bonuses for the first, I think, 7 days of playing or so. That's also worth getting as a late spender. They're okay if you plan on investing long term in the game. The standard card is a little bit better. The premium card, of course, is giving more resources, but it's a shorter duration on them, so it's just not as good of a value, and it can add up in expenses. So that's it for all of the store types of things you could get here. Spend a lot of time in your modification, but we're gonna cover the recruitment section first. Recruitment, yes. Initially, you will have permanent recruitment, and then you will have I think it's like a wish recruitment or so. Basically, once you do that, you can do 10 chances of doing 10 time pools, and you get to choose out of all of the 10 times pools. You get to roll them all. Once you've rolled them all, you get to choose between 2 of them as you're going through and choose the result you want. So this is a way to re-roll using this new player recruitment banner once you've reached that far. I haven't done any math on how long it takes just because it's fairly easy to get resources early game, but if you wanted to start with a strong DPS character, that is the best way to do re-rolling, is for that during that times 10 banner. The Desire Recruit you will unlock after you have done 200 Tesseract pools total. So it'll say it'll be locked, but it'll be an additional 100 after you unlock it. It's kind of backwards in the way, and I think there's been several bug reports. But the way this works is, once you've unlocked an SS character, you could select the SS character you want, and then it starts off, I believe they changed it recently. Let's see. I don't think it says, but it's 20, 40, 60, and then it goes like 100 or something like that. So every time you don't get it on here, your recruit wish, it increases the chance of getting your selected recruitment wish. So initially I would say focus on DPS character carry, so that'll be somebody like Suzaku or Eric are 2 very early game carries. Another good one is Burst Boxer is really good, and Rick Gaiden is also, he's okay. Of these 3 are going to be the easiest, and they'll be your strongest carries initially for new players. So that would be my recommended one. I wouldn't focus so much on tanks or supports or destroyers outside of these 2 that I mentioned initially. Once you've done that, permanent recruit, you probably won't ever do this a whole lot. You'll do this initially just so you could get some of the characters, and then once you have a strong DPS, then I would put all of the rest of your Tesseracts into this banner. Buy or spend your comp cores on here. Say you're at 8 or 9, then it might be worth to do an extra 1, but I wouldn't do your comp cores in here as a free-to-play player. Lots of other places that you could be spending it. The biggest one is going to be buying neurocons. This is the best place to spend your comp cores, is going to be buying energy initially. So just straight up do that. So now that you have done some of the basic things, you'll have your main story mode that you'll progress through here. The goal as a new player is to progress through as much of the story as possible throughout the first couple of weeks. The goal is to read chapter 8, 12 and clear it. Once you've cleared chapter 8, 12, you unlock new mode in the R&D facility here, which is your anima chips section. This is a primary source of getting modules, and this is going to be your biggest BR boost, or it's basically power. The power of your team is going to be through getting these modules. So as a new player, you'll have a 7-day event, and you'll have an 8-day event. The 8-day event will last for 10 days, and I believe the 7-day event will last for 9 days. But one of the biggest benchmarks for free-to-play players is to get your team's BR levels to, it's now 50k. It used to be 70k, but now it's just 50k. And doing so, you get Taki Seiru, who is one of the better SS characters in the game. They'll give you a free copy of him. I believe it's guaranteed in your first couple of pools to get Catherine, 30 gold, who is also another one of the best SS characters in the game. So progress through the world map. It's important that you join a club that has strong players in it, and as you do so, you're able to enter a stage, and you can click assist, and you can pick up a friend from the assist pool. And if you're a free-to-play player, it's always good to just pick up, one of these stronger DPS units in here. If you're deploying an assist, it's always better to deploy some of your strongest DPS characters. Everything else doesn't really matter as much, and then even then it's still good to select characters every day, because you will be giving everybody in your club additional points for selecting it. So if you're the strong player, select some of these weaker ones. If you're a weaker player or a lower BR player, then select some of these stronger ones up top here. And that'd be my recommendation. So once you've done assist, you could choose the assist character that you need. They'll pop up down here, support Combatant right here, and you could slot it in. So I would slot in a strong DPS character and use that to clear the stages in which you are unable to clear. So you could use each character 5 times per week, and so that allows you 10 assists that you could borrow for a week. So that's 10 stages. So if each chapter, if it has 12 to 14 stages, you're covering 80-90% of the stage using just assist if needed. So it should be theoretical that you could clear as much of the story content as possible, even at weaker BR, using friend assists. Be sure to use friend assists. It's very important that you use them. It'll help you progress through the chapters, and then you'll be able to clear content and build your team much more quickly. Most of your energy is going to be spent in here. You'll have the Blitz Center. I'll just show this real quick. You aren't going to ever use it from here. You'll do it through the Combatant screen, but as you progress through the chapters, you'll unlock different sorts of mats, and these are used for breakthroughing your characters to the next level bracket, and that's a very important thing for new players to be able to progress that. So most of your energy is going to be in the main storyline, and then whatever you have extra will be going 10 skill code I do in here a day. That'll complete your daily task, and then you don't need more than that because the tiers, it's every 10 tiers you gain a skill up. And so if you have 45 or something like that and a 48, the difference between them is the skill level is going to be the same, but you'll have just a little bit more in stats. So it's not as important to run this, but it is more important to run this TacData. Let's see how much I have right now. I have almost 11 million right now. Currently where I'm at, it takes 1.7 million and I think 2.1 million in order to break through and level up between the next level bracket. I could do 5 characters right now at the next level bracket. So it's very difficult to earn this when you're only earning, 40k a day plus whatever the double bonus rewards, and then you do get TacData and various other types of sources. Yeah, this is where you should be spending most of your extra energy per day as a free player until you unlock modules, the anima chip segment. Once you do that, then you'll swap over and start spending more of your extra stamina split between these two as needed, with a greater priority on the anima chip section or the modules, just because that is a huge source of growth for new players. So you have the field recon stage. Currently we have 3 areas. Another one is going to come, maybe even more. I don't know when exactly that's coming. So the way this works is I'll show you some of these later ones because I need to track. In the earlier stages, you'll have more types of things, and I actually can go back. Let's see. Okay, it won't let me. So how it works is you're given this screen right here. You have various sorts of stages. Each of these stages, these nodes, give intel points, and so initially right here you can see it's kind of faded out. You'll get keepsakes. So the first goal is to go and get the keepsake and then go back and get whatever sort of intel that you need. So you could do that by traveling. You click and click move. It's generally not worth to go for these comp cores and these opponent interfaces. Initially it's better to get the keepsake first, and then on subsequent runs it'll take 4 runs per node in order to get the amount of shards you need. So if you check the boss level, for every intel point you gain, it increases the boss level. So initially you start off with 3 component interfaces and 8,000 of the coins or gold in this game. So as you move up, that's when you start gaining the keepsake shards, greater amounts of rewards. I'm up to 64,000k gold and more of these component interfaces. So that should be the goal for your first 4 runs. Is first run, get the keepsake. The next 3 runs, you want to go and get as many of these intel points as possible. Once you've done that, then you could go back and move on to the next stage, and then you'll be able to start working on the next set of these keepsakes is the primary goal. And then eventually, once you've gotten all of the keepsakes, you'll be able to go back and start farming for the materials that are on those stages. Fuel regens fairly slowly, so as free to play, if you're not buying fuel, you'll be able to do 2 runs per day. And then if you aren't free to play, you'll be able to do 3 runs per day if you're buying the extra fuel. So if you look in it, it'll say what the keepsake is. This keepsake is the one you pick up from the map. This keepsake, it'll say, oh, this is a possible keepsake. It's not actually a drop. You can't actually get it as a drop. Instead, you get these shards, which once you have 15 of them, then you could fuse into the keepsake that is right here. So bear in mind, that's the way to do it. So you have a cost of 50. I did that once, and so I could do it 1 more time. So it's fairly standard, 2 per day for free to play. So once I've done that, then I will go to the next one and I'll get this keepsake first, and then I will repeat it 3 more times until I get enough shards to fuse one of these, and then you'll just wait until the next unlock one. It's every 2 levels you start gaining it, so I think this last one is capped at level 48 or something like that. So once you're level 48, then you'll be able to have had all of the various types of keepsakes, and we'll go back and cover the keepsakes in a little bit. So that was the field recon. For the supply raid, I've already done most of the runs here. Maybe I'll show you on this one right now, but the way it works is this is your highest start, and this should be primary focus on once you enter here. So as you enter in, it shows you 2 different buttons here. It says auto select and confirm. It's better to manually choose your characters. If you do auto select, it's going to primarily focus on SS characters, and generally they aren't going to be as high stars. So the greater the star of your team total that you select to send forth to complete these tasks, the greater the amount of rewards. So it's important to do this one at least once a day. You could do all of these free once a day, and then on a second time, if you're free to play, I would do it a second time because it's worth the cost in order to do it a second time. For these ones, it's not worth doing. You'll get better value just if you're straight up buying them. You could buy it from the shop, and it'll be cheaper from the shop to do it that way. For the gold one, this one gives more gold than this one does, so it's always better to do this task over the other one, even though when you look at the rewards it says it's the same amount, but it does not actually give the same amount. Another thing is every chapter you'll have enemy troops, and then that basically is a percentage modifier that increases the difficulty of the stages. So right here I have 160k or 1600k. That's basically like 160% is how it translates out to. You get these proofs of illumination. Basically every proof you have reduces the percentage by 1%. It's anywhere from 5 to 10% is basically the amount of reduction that you get per doing these on average. Sometimes it's less initially, it'll be like 1 to 3%, but as you progress you could gain more and more reductions. Sorry Carbon, I can't help you right now. Currently if we look at this, it says it's 150k is the rec, but at 160%, I remember this was like 330k BR or something like that, so it's easily double the amount of BR that it's calling for. So as you reduce the amount of troops, it becomes easier and easier. So if you're stuck on a while, you keep doing those daily tasks, supply tasks in the raids here, and then that'll slowly reduce it. Or you could use the club assist for the friend and be able to complete that. Ghost Guide is just a daily thing. You could go in, click start, you'll gain rewards. Despite this saying that there's a daily cap, it's not actually capped, and as you progress higher you'll exceed this cap, and there's also another keepsake that allows you to further exceed this cap. So I don't know why it's here. This is just fairly easy. Most of the BR I think is about 30k, so once your team is 50k, you won't really need to look at this again. You can just click auto and come back in 5 minutes and all of the stages will be done. Fairly easy. It's just a click auto and be done. You'll gain resources. Build, you'll be able to select and choose your characters. As you complete chapters, you will unlock another building, and then each time you enter in here, this is giving your characters for those classes just straight flat bonuses only for this chapter. Sorry Hand Gilga, I can't help you right now. It's basically the same thing as the enemy troops right here, but it's for you as well. Congrats, somebody cleared steer. Once you've completed a chapter, then you have the covert versions of it. As you can see here, there's circles around it where it indicates that I have not completed some stages. It's not important to clear it with 3-star because there are no additional rewards for clearing it with a 3-star for the stages themselves. The only benefit to doing so is to get these additional tesseracts for 3-star clearing stages. Generally, once you're 2 chapters ahead, you could go back and clear them, no problem. I just haven't gone back. I've been busy getting other data. So else you could use a friend assist that works on here as well, and you could do that way in order to get a 3-star victory. There are ways you could do that where you could use like a high level tank that gives shields to help survive, or you could use Noam, helps for these stages because he increases the max HP, and generally you don't want like a character get one shot, and you want the HP total to be higher. The greater the total HP, the easier it is. So Noam is a good choice for completing these stages, or a friend assist. As you complete each stage, you'll gain corrosion level, Every chapter basically reduces the level by 5% up to you get to 35%, which is chapter 13, and then it doubles down. You actually get rewards for both 35% and reaching the end for now. I believe you have to buy the bottom half. I can't remember. That was a while ago. So that's the main story stages and such. Fairly straightforward. It's not particularly difficult in the way of mechanics. I believe you unlock Arena, Cyber Siege, and then Dimension Assault, or it's a Cyber Siege, Arena, Dimension Assault. For Cyber Siege, you have your 3 main modes here: Merc Frenzy, Special Training, and HoloSim Challenge. Merc Frenzy is what you're going to spend the most amount of your time in. Special Training is often fairly confusing for people, but I'm going to cover them in order of left, middle, right. So for Merc Frenzy, initially we'll have these characters will appear. So each of these people will have different types of mercs that you will unlock as you progress. So 3 and 6, 2 and 5, and this is 1, 4, 7, and 8. Before you could do the team up version, you need to do the solo version. And that could be difficult, as I don't remember if you could use an assist for that. And so that might be the benchmark. I remember 4 was somewhat difficult. They redid 7, so 7 is probably the biggest benchmark for free to play currently. Which other one? 6 is also, they redid that, and it's a little bit more difficult than it was before. And that's going to be 7 and 6 are going to be your more difficult ones. You could clear 8 with an 80k, 90k BR team. Then as you go down, it's progressively less and less. The first 3 or 4 you should be able to do with maybe a 20 to 30k BR team. So it doesn't scale too high. As you can see, I was at like 270, 280 BR. Once you have gotten roughly double the amount of recommended BR, you should be able to solo it. So in case you don't find anybody for the team up, you could go and you could solo it. The way this works is, once you've cleared a solo stage, you could go through and join a team up one. You could create a team, or you could auto join one. So I'm going to create one just so I could showcase on my own. So this is the screen. This is how it works. So you have your options right here. If you have these general entry permits, I'll be able to have this automatically unchecked. It checks automatically if you don't have any of these permits. If you have multiple players in here, you could click this and it'll swap between the order. So it depends on the stage. Generally, it's better to put your strongest person first, and if you don't have enough damage, even with him, then you put your next strongest person last in the middle. Very strong person, just swap and put them first. That's just good practice to have. You'll be able to clear it faster, and you don't have to spend a whole lot of time, and you could do a lot of runs quickly. You know, it saves everybody time, everybody can get the rewards, and they could get their friends assist. Every time you do a battle, you get some of these drops right here, and then you could also have a potential to get these sorts of drops, and it'll tell you the ranges. It's not that you get all of these, it's that you get a potential some of these. Bear in mind, once you've used all of your tickets and you could do assists, then you only get 10 experience for helping out a day. So as you look here, this is the experience that you're gaining right here. As you go up, the chance will increase. That is kind of helpful that you get, better drops as this increases, but it takes quite a bit. The stats increase helps a little bit, but again, this is just so minor that it doesn't help a whole lot. However, if you wanted to farm, you could do it that way, gain an additional 10 assists per day, up to 100 extra points. So it's not a whole lot when you're doing a run and you're already getting like 100 XP per run. So you do 3 or 4 runs a day, you're already getting 3 or 4 times the amount of running this 10 times. And so it doesn't trade off very well. Auto start is good to check because once everybody is ready, it'll automatically start the match. And then with this on, you could go AFK, and as long as you have tickets, people will just keep joining and run. It'll run through. It'll just go through. And so I did it once where I dozed off and I had auto start on with assist, and I ran through, and it was like an hour and a half later I came back and it was still running assist for random people. So I was able to help people. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on assist so you can see I could swap the people's positions here if I wanted to. Auto flip is only useful for these types of tickets. So I'll go ahead and do a run just so you could see how it worked a little bit, and I'll be able to explain a little bit on the combat. So for Merc Frenzy, which is this mode right here, everything is going to be on autopilot. So this is your auto, and you can't do manual battles. This is speed, so there's 1x and 2x speeds, and you can't unfortunately change the speeds either. Initially, you're just going to have your main character slots. I think you start with 4 character slots, then you unlock a 5th, and then a 6th one within your first couple of chapters. Down here is your tactic points. This is basically your mana or your energy, other standard games, and then underneath the characters are the character energy, so that is specific to that character. So if I look right here, my Suzaku right now has no energy right now, but this character right here, Vermilion Dawn, has the full 4 energy bars. So as you use basic attacks, you'll gain more energy back. So there she did a basic attack, there's the basic attack, but they're already full, so they can't exceed their cap. There's one character I think that can do that. Man, I'm blanking on her name right now, but there is one character that can exceed her personal energy character cap. As you are in combat, every character's ultimate can be upgraded up to 3 times, and that uses the character energy in order to upgrade that ultimate. So others, you have your basic attack, you have your special attack, and then you have your ultimate attack. All of those are your 3 main types of attacks that you have, but only your ultimate will use the character energy. I'm bypassing some of the mechanics here and the Merc Frenzy, which is most of them will have like a one-hit kill move almost, or just very high damage at 70 and 40% HP. Anyways, once you reach the end, if you have auto flip turned on, it'll automatically flip one of these cards plus this extra reward here. So it's 80 comp cores for an extra search chance. If you are free to play, this is not worth it, your comp cores for other things. So it's just very difficult. You can buy extra tickets using comp cores as well. It's worth buying 1 or 2 as free to play because that'll be more cost effective than doing an extra flip. This is Merc Frenzy. Yeah, not too difficult. You have other things as well, so let me go ahead and talk about that. So your first 8 stages right here, 1 through 8, are going to be your general purpose ones. Developer's Plan's secret one is going to be these golden tickets. These you can buy, or you could get them as potential random drop from any of these first 8 stages. The higher you are, the greater the chance of drop, because if I look at some of these lower ones, no longer offered. So I'm pretty sure it's, 5 and up is when you could start getting them. These you could only use for these secret stages right here. There's 4 of them, and they rotate every week. Every 4 weeks you will go through the full rotation, and these are good because they have a chance of getting these exclusive implants. So they're character specific ones, and then you could also get SS rank implants, which are better than your just regular orange star ones. So you have you have purple, which is your S rank, then you have your S, which is just regular ones, SS, then you have your extra SS, and then you have exclusive. So there's the 3, exclusive, SS, and then S. So those are going to be your main colored ones. These secret missions have a higher chance of dropping better things on the weekend, and that's specifically Saturday. Don't use these throughout the week, just use them on Saturday. That's just a good practice. You get a much higher drop chance of getting these red ones, the exclusive implants, on Saturday. So just save until Saturday. For these, this is a specific time limited one. It's tied to an event, and they have a chance of dropping specific character exclusive implants. So these are time limited tickets, which you could only get through doing event missions and such. Pretty sure they disappear once the mission ends, so just use them all. The way it worked for this specific event was did a certain amount of days, and then you unlock this. If you had a single copy of Vera, then you could unlock this, and if you have a 6-star Vera, then you could unlock this. The good thing is, if anybody has a 6-star Vera, they could open this up and anybody could join that team, but you aren't able to host it yourself. That's Merc Frenzy. Special training. So this is another one that's quite confusing for new players. Yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and go over it. So you have your weekly rewards. It's only 200 points. Very easy to hit this with a single mission. However, a lot of people don't understand how this works. You have different sort of buffs. I think it's like 5 buffs. It's 5 buffs, and then it's 5 buffs for the first week. After the second week, then you get an additional 5 buffs for the 3-star enemy buff. You could check your rank here right now. I'm at 2310, which is the highest you could get from the second weeks on. It does give pretty good rewards. This is, fairly good for it being, I think it's every 4 days you get this. It's a fair amount of comp cores you could get from here. So it's important that you do this. 2 different modes, both of them are the exact same in terms of the enemies that you fight, the drops that can, specific, I guess, mechanics of this mission that appear in here. And so I click this, and it'll tell you the highest stage you could get, which is 7 currently. The amount of turns and the points you get don't really matter so much. Just note that for the second weeks on, 2310 is the highest amount of points. You could reset this if you want to try and get higher points. If you haven't maxed, you could reset it. The end 2 stages are quite difficult. That's stages 5 and 6. The first 2 stages are very easy. So it's like easy, easy, and then it gets like harder, hard, difficult, very difficult. Most free-to-play will struggle to get full points on probably these 3, maybe even these 4 for the first couple of weeks. After a month, under the current circumstances of this game mode, then everybody should be able to start getting more full points on this. I guess I'll just reset so you can see exactly how this works, because it's very important that this is shown to you, because a lot of people don't understand it, because this game mode unfortunately was not explained too well. You have your battle node. In here it says the amount of points you could earn, it says the enemy lineup, and then you could choose your formation. What you need to do is click this plus button, and then you could choose the amount of enemy buffs. The icon will match here. As I go through, these are buffs that the enemy team is getting. Now, enemy max HP plus 25%, enemy attack plus 25%, enemy final damage plus 15%, enemy final damage taken minus 15%, and enemy defense plus 25%. For your first 10, these are just going to be primarily just enemy stat buffs. They aren't as vital. You could turn all of these on and be just fine as free to play. It's these ones here at the bottom that become a little bit more difficult. So like boss enemy HP attack is plus 150%, and they will follow up a normal attack with a normal attack once after a normal action and recover an additional energy. These ones affect your teams a lot more. So if you're struggling, you could start removing some of these ones. Enemy attack 100%, that's a good one to remove. This is the one I personally remove. Allied combatants attack defense max HP minus 65%, and gene power healing received minus 25%. This is the one I remove. The other ones, attack, this is also a good one to remove. This one right here doesn't really affect too much. Enemy defense isn't as important. Enemy recovers an extra action or energy after a normal action isn't as important to me. This one can be a lot of damage if you're in a prolonged fight, but it's still not as important. Deploy less than 5 combatants. This one can be confusing. You need to select 4 heroes is basically what this is saying. So if you bring 5, you're not going to get points for this, despite what it's saying. So if I click confirm, whatever, I'm at 325 points. Let me make sure to max this. So it'll say 385 points that you could possibly earn. And it was bugged before. Before it said 375, and I submitted a report and it was fixed. You go here, you could select your characters. Typically I will do 1 DPS, an AoE character, a healer, and a tank for the first 3 stages. Once I've done that, I will replace my AoE DPS with another CC character, just so I can stall, and I'll run basically 1 DPS, 1 support, 1 healer, and 1 tank. This is how I do it in order to clear things. So this will be my formation with the 4 stages. So I will go ahead and I'll do this battle, and I will show you a little bit more on how the combat works, playing a little bit on tactics and little tips and tricks that I did not know when I first started playing, or not explained very well. Typically everybody will start with basic attacks until their energy, their tactical points are full. So once it's full, then you're presented with options. So the way it works is for every character you get a tactics points. So here's my 4 tactics points, and then you get an additional 2 points just as a baseline. 2 characters, you're gonna have a base of 4. With 6 characters, you're gonna have a base of 8. There's one character, I still can't remember her name, Rosa Matrix or something like that. Matrix Runner, increase energy, I think tactic points as well. Each character's face icon will be displayed on here. As you select each of these, it'll tell you what exactly it does, what types of targets. So there's various types of targeting that you could do. AoE, it'll be a big circle. It'll either be on your side or on the enemy's side. For single targets, if it's a buff, it'll do an arrow pointing from the character, who it is, to the target character. If I'm selecting her and I want to do this attack buff right here on a character, I don't want to put it on my tank. So I will click her, which is my DPS, and so she will get the attack buff. This is the first action, so I'm going to do this first. She's getting a buff before something else happens. So then I could follow up. This is a debuff on an enemy, so I get to choose the target who I want to do the debuff, and I could select for single target attacks. If I don't want to do it, I could use my commander skills here. Let's see if I could get a AoE skill. I did not get an AoE skill, so I'm going to re-head and challenge this again. You can challenge this as many times as you want without any penalties until you get either a good starting hand or you get good RNG for something. I almost drew the same hand, so I'm going to do this again. I only have one AoE skill, which is her, so I didn't get it, so I'm going to try one more time just so I could show you what the AoE looks like for the enemy side. Alright, still didn't get it, so I might just need to continue on. Okay, there it is. So it'll look like this on the enemy side. So that's an AoE on enemy side, AoE on your side, a single target buff on our side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attack buff my character and then do a AoE attack. So do note that it's showing that I'm using 4 of my tactical points. I don't need to use all of it in a single turn if I don't want to. So a strategy that you could do is in order to rotate your card cycle, you could just do like a single one like this, and I could cast that, and that'll purposely reduce the time, and it gives me another chance at doing getting different sorts of draw power. So this is a method you could do for harder stages in which when you need specific cards and you can't draw those specific cards. So I'm going to attack buff, I'm going to do AoE, and I'm going to cast. This should be enough to kill all of them in one hit because it's fairly easy. Okay, maybe not. I forgot I had all the buffs turned on. This is how the turns progress. I've used my energy or my tactical points, so now I'm going to go through until I've used all of my auto attacks, and then now it's begun again. I am going to do something like this as an example. The other thing is, if I choose to select this single debuff on this character and I do another single debuff, I can't unfortunately select a different target. So if I'm doing 2 attacks, both of these debuffs and attack are going to go to the same target. I can't say you attack her and you debuff her. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. I do believe that they will change this eventually, but as for now, you can't do that. So this is my ultimate right now, 4 energy, and my cathode only has 2 energy. If I upgrade it once, it'll change the skill damage, and then it could also add additional effects. So right now it's 473%, 7 stacks, 7% attack. If I upgrade it, it's 594, 10 stacks, still 7%. Upgrade one more time, it's 674% attack, 10 stacks, 9%, and if the target is killed, then I recover 4 energy. I could do that, I could use deal, or I could just do straight another attack. So what I'm going to do is attack her, and then even though both of these are selected her, if I kill her, then my next attack will just choose a random target. So that's the downside of this. It didn't kill her. Alright, so that did kill her. That was good. Tanks generally have their passive attack, or their passive is that for the first 2 turns, enemy normal attacks will attack that character instead. And they get like defense reduction and such like that. I could show you, probably I'll use this HP skill. So his skill is increases damage, or reduces the damage taken, and it is increased on the ally with the lowest HP percentage, and it adds a shield to all allies. So this white bar value over the characters is the shield value. The other thing to note is if you hit this exclamation point, this inverted exclamation point, you could see all of the characters, so you could see exactly what status effects are on them. And for enemies as well, you could check and see what types of status effects there are. Generally for bosses, they will have a status effect that makes them immune to certain types of crowd control, and so it's important to check that and basically just be wary of it. So this is pretty much it for combat. Fairly straightforward. There's a lot of strategy and such that you could do. You click here, it'll tell you battle details, you know, how much damage somebody did, how much damage they took, healed, or how many times they did a control on somebody. That could be useful information for trying to build something, and it's also a good screenshot for people who want to be able to share things. So as you can see, I got 385 points off of that, maxing. You get to select a helper. So it tells you exactly what it is, but even with it being said here, it still doesn't, it's not entirely true, just because it talks about gaining SS combatants, but you can't gain them under current things. So I don't know if they're going to increase the length of this special training, or they're going to add additional modes, or they're going to have a hard mode or something, but eventually you'll be able to do that. So the way it works is you could select any character. They're basically just going to give your characters that are on the field a flat 15% stat increase to all of their attack, defense, and HP. So the ones you choose on here do matter. It's not 3 random ones, it's the 3 same ones every single time. And so in my spreadsheet, I've tracked which ones it's going to be, and I've underlined which ones to choose. So I know for this one, it's Saki is going to be the one I always choose. So on my next battle, after I defeat this one, it's going to give me 3 different ones, and Saki is going to be the next one I choose. If I choose her both times, she's going to rank up from the B versions of Saki, 2 B versions, to an A version of Saki. You're still going to retain the stat bonuses, so instead of it being 2 15%, it's going to be a single 30% stat increase, but you also get additional flat bonus stats added onto your team. And that only affects this special training mode. It doesn't affect anywhere else in the game, and there's also no indicator anywhere of you receiving these bonus stats anywhere. If I look at my formation, I think I maybe gained like 10k, or maybe not. I don't think it shows anywhere that you're gaining these bonus stats anyway. You continue doing that until you reach the 6th stage. On the 7th stage, you just gain additional rewards. So that's basically what you need to do. Once you've selected the enemy buffs, it's always going to be those enemy buffs on subsequent stages. So if you can't defeat something, go through, maybe take down one of these, or maybe if you wanted to try to min-max, you could try to remove some of these damage ones. I tried to remove the damage ones, a little bit more difficult. Or if you have one-shot potential, then you could try to remove some of these like final damage taken or something like that. So that is a special training. It is 2 days, so you have 4 days to do it. You have 2 days on each one. So the first day is going to be this one, second day is going to be this one, third day this one, fourth day this one. So you have 2 chances on each of them to try to improve your score, so you could get these different ranking rewards. Special training is over. We're going to look at HoloSim Speedrun. You will unlock after your first or second week. I think first. After the first week is when you'll start unlocking the speedrun. The way it works currently is you gain points for the less skills, tactic points, and actions that you use. So you want to try to clear things using low cost, using a specific commander skill, which I'll go over, and also trying to use character kit mechanics in order to complete these. The devs did say recently that this is going to change a little bit. That is something that's particularly helpful because right now it's currently easy. If you look at the highest stage, it's 43k BR. You know, most free to play could hit that after 4 days of playing, so it's not particularly challenging in order to complete the speed run. And then here you would look at the ranking rewards, and you could see how, you know, how to get higher ranking rewards. You could do that through here, and that's all that it is. These is going to, you'll spend a bit of time on these, trying to clear them. The first like 3 or 4 stages aren't very difficult. You can see like 4,000 BR, but on the 9th stage, that's, you know, 5 times the 4th stage difficulty. So it really does start ramping up. So like on the Eric for the last one, it's like 200k BR. Then by the end, it's like at almost 350k BR. These give good rewards. It's these basic anima chips that are very important for free to play. As you complete them, you know, you'll start gaining these rewards, and then once you've completed all 9 stages, then you'll get this first time clear reward. And so these are very, very good rewards. This one's, you know, it's okay, like this one's okay, but most of these are fairly good rewards. It is quite difficult to complete these. If we look at this, my server's 3 weeks old right now, and only 8 players have even reached this stage right here, and so only 2 people have even completed it, and I'm a spender, and this guy's a even bigger spender than me. It's quite difficult to complete some of these. It does keep track. The only thing I wish it did was it would keep track of the level that you completed it on. It does keep track of the date that you completed it on. So 11/13, that was, I started like an hour before that date ended, so I was a day behind on my server. But you can go through here and you could check like what the formations that were used for it. The last battles, you could look here and like it'll show different types of things, and you could click here and it'll actually just replay the team battle. So in case you needed to screen record how you completed something, you can click and record that recording and share it to people that way. These don't really have very complicated mechanics. They're just difficult battles. This is probably the most difficult content in the game right now, probably from like Catherine on. Quite difficult for a lot of people. Pastoral as well is probably towards the edge of where free to play want to be after a month. So yeah, HoloSim challenge, good rewards there, worth focusing on. So that was the Cyber Siege section. You have Dimensional Assault, so you will unlock this. So after 7 days, on your 10th day, you will have this open, and then it's 10 days after that, and then 10 days after that. So it should be within 20 days, depending on when you start, you'll have unlocked all of these. Mine, I missed the first one, so it took me an extra 10 days in order to unlock it. Abyss Battle will only open on Sunday. Set times for the Abyss boss, which is also Rosa Matrix Runner. There's only set times in which she will open. You can't refresh or do anything like that. So when you first unlock this mode, go ahead and enter the battlefield. It's basically free roam map in which you could run around. They will have exploration tasks here that you'll run around, you'll talk to people, you'll go and complete tasks, and you'll go ahead and do that. It takes about 2 hours, I think, to complete all the exploration tasks. It does give you minor rewards for doing it. You do need to finish all of the exploration tasks before you could start attacking these bosses. Once the bosses are available, it's on specific days here. Let's see, it should say what the days are here. I believe, let me see here. Merc Frenzy is open on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays, and then Dimensional Assault is open on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. I want to say it's not open on Monday for whatever reason. Once you go to the boss, I'll just walk to a random area. So you'll be able to go up, click her, and then it'll be a battle button will pop up. You click the battle button, and then it goes. These decrease at a rate of 0.03% per second. So it's roughly 2 or 3 minutes, I think, in order for all of this to be depleted. It doesn't matter how much damage you do, but the amount of damage you do, you have these 2 squares here, which will tell you things. So this will tell you the ranking rewards if you're the top damage for that boss. While it's open, people are fighting it. It's like what 3 minute duration. Then you'll get these rewards. There's also additional rewards, which I don't think I could see, for being top damage. So if you're number 1, you get 4 additional chests. If you're anything else, you will get 2 or 3 additional chests, depending on how many people are fighting it, and if it's an Abyss boss or not. Abyss boss gives double the amount of normal drop chests for being top damage, just because it is a little bit more competitive. Everybody wants to do that. The same thing, you get 3 attacks a day. You can buy an additional 3 per day. It's a fairly decent rewards, but it's super RNG, so it's very difficult to actually gain anything good from it. The devs did say that it is going to be reworked. I think they're going to bump up the rates, and they're going to tweak some things here, so it'll be a little bit better for getting these, because currently it's just very difficult to get them. You have the 4 different types of bosses: Destroyer, Assault, Tank, and Support. I would recommend focusing on the Assault boss. Use all of your temps on it for the days that it is open, probably for maybe your first 2 weeks. If you are maining Eric, then maybe I might say split it, do like 2-1 ratio. And then once those 2 weeks are over, then you'd start swapping over to doing more of the Destroyer implants. It's not as important to focus on your tank and support classes, just because most mobile games do not have a good trinity for DPS support tank. Almost always focus DPS first. The faster you kill things, the better able you're to progress, and that is true here for Cyber Rebellion. You have to focus your DPS characters first in order to progress. If you try to focus up your team evenly, it just doesn't work quite as well. You do have the same normal amount of tickets, your 3 tickets per day, that are on Sundays. Make sure that on Sunday that you're using it on the Abyss boss and not the 4 normal people that will also open alongside of the Abyss boss. Only do the Abyss boss battle on Sundays. That's going to be the best way to increase your rewards there. The other thing I failed to mention is after you defeat a boss, there will drop supply chests underneath. Every supply chest gives additional 2 boxes in it. You could pick up to 15, they're assist boxes, 15 per day that it is open. That's an additional 45 boxes per week you could pick up from there, and it does match the type of boss. So if you defeat an assault boss, it's going to drop assault chests afterwards. If there's 2 people, then you could get 5 chests each. If there's 3 people, you could get 4 chests each. 1 person's going to get 5. It's only 10 chests will drop per boss. In populated servers, sometimes people will just not fight and they'll just pick up the extra chests and then they'll fight later, just so they can maximize and get the chest. But you know, if you do all of your attacks, then you really don't have to worry about picking up this extra chest. You'll get them eventually through your three battles. So that was the 3 main stages here. We're gonna talk about arena real quick. So you have 2 different modes right now. All of the modes can be done, well, let me clarify. So Digital Clash can be done manually. This one cannot, Underground Arena. This is the more of the strategic PvP mode that we have currently. This one is not as much. Each chest will give a certain amount of points, victory points, and battle resources, or battle points. So this is what you use in the Sundries shop. Comp cores are very good as well. And then the victory points, this is what determines your ranking here. So the more victory points you have, the greater your place and the ranking possible. It's better to do all 9 battles. If you could win all 9 battles, that's very good. It'll be difficult to do so if you're free to play. So if you're free to play, I would recommend hitting 6 and then refreshing and then doing it that way, because that will maximize the amount of the battles you could do, and you'd need to do every battle manually. If you're close, then you could do extra battles, but you know, anything past, if you do like 7 or 8, it's gonna be wasted because you're unable to get that 9th one. If you can't get the 9th one, basically, then just refresh, as I was saying. So if you are higher than a certain percentage, I don't know exactly what it is. I want to say like 33% maybe. If you're 33%, your BR is 33% higher than people, then you'll be able to click here and click crush, and it just automatically gives you a win. If it's not, it'll show up in white text here like this, and then you could challenge them. And so you need to do these battles. I just recommend doing it manually. So you do get daily ranking reward, not daily, weekly ranking reward from this mode. You get daily ranking rewards from the other mode, PvP mode. Refresh button is every 3 minutes, so it's fairly easy to take a look like, oh, I can't beat 4 of these guys, I need to be able to only have 3 that I can't beat, or something like that. So you could come refresh it, go back and do something else, come back, refresh it, and that's something that is useful for gaining points. So 6 chests if you're free to play. If you can't hit that, then you know, do 3, refresh, do 3, refresh. That'll be good. Try to work up to 6 if possible. And then if you're manually doing things, if you're all close in power, like all 3 of these people that are in white text are all fairly close to power, they should be able to beat each other if they just do manual battle. That's Digital Clash mode. Then you have Underground Arena. Oh snap, this ends in 5 minutes. So I'll go ahead and show you this. You need to set up a formation, and it's different from your standard formation. So you have 1 battle here, then you have 2 combatants here, and then you have 3 combatants here. The way it works is you set up 1, 2, and 3. The way I recommend is to use either a DPS here or like a DPS tank, and then I will do a strong single target DPS character and a tank here. And then for the third one, I will either do like an AoE character, or like 2 AoE characters and a support, or I'll do like a CC, an AoE character and a support, or something like that. Typically you want to use the female commander for auto battle PvP, just because it has a greater benefit for PvP for non-auto battle. And it's important that you set it for both offense and defense. I'm gonna go ahead and challenge him. I don't know if I could still beat him. He changed it, so I think I should still be able to beat him, despite him having almost 40k more BR than me right now. Yeah, he bumped up a lot. He went up like 70k BR this week. So it just automatically does it. I can't manually do it. I can't change the speed, and it's just a matter of just progressing through here. I'm gonna go ahead and let this play out for a little bit. You could skip each of the matches. You can't skip while an ultimate is going, unfortunately. That's something that you just need to wait, like it'll tell you like, oh, you can't do this or whatever. So, but I could skip it, it'll go to the next battle. And so if you want to see just a specific match, you could do this. It doesn't show you match statistics afterwards, don't believe, and it doesn't show it, but it just tells you that you straight up won or you straight up didn't win. That was some good damage. He must have worked on that character, because before it wasn't doing nearly that much amount. We'll see how my tank is doing here. So that was unfortunate. I didn't get my skill that I wanted here. That's the skill I wanted. So I'm not worried about that character. So typically in PvP, your characters will tend to focus on the highest DPS character first, or the highest attack character first, and then they'll alternate. So she might actually kill me here, we'll see. Ooh, survived. So that was unfortunate, I got a shield. So I'll do this. If I won this battle, it'll tell me after this. Alright, so I beat her on this second stage. It looks like just this character was alive. And it only will tell you for whatever was the last match on here. So you can see the damage stats on here. So it is a little bit more interesting to see. Then I need to go ahead and check this event here before the mission ends, and I'll probably just cut it out here afterward. Now let's talk about the main important things that you'll visit a lot here is your combatants. Generally, I just expand it. So you have your 6 characters. Typically, I will focus on 1 assault or 2 assaults, 1 or 2 destroyers. It just depends. 1 tank, and then either 1 to 3 supports. If you're just starting off, I will do 1, 2, 1, 2. And that'll be your 6 characters, is what I would recommend. That being because destroyers, you can get to 75, level 75. Tanks can also get to level 75. Assault and supports are currently capped at level 70. So I just need Vermilion Dawn and Zealothy, and these will be my last level 70s, and then I'm currently level capped. I can't raise them any higher until we've unlocked additional modes. The way it goes is you have your B ranked characters, you have your A ranked characters in blue, then you have your purple characters, which are S, and then you have your yellow or gold characters, which are SS. As a free-to-play player, your S characters are going to be better than your SS characters. A lot of people are going to start off with 5 or 6 SS characters. They're only going to be 4 or 5 star looking like this. And they're going to be like, oh, I can't progress, or the stages are too difficult, or have such a low BR. The reason being is these characters unlock additional skills for having more stars. So most SS characters need a minimum of 5 stars in order to get their kit online. At 6 stars, that's when I feel most of the SS characters start becoming decent. Until that point, you will have your SS characters. It's just super easy to bring to the max level. Like, I go from whatever 12% healing during combat to 24% healing, so I've doubled the amount of healing I could get during combat, and I've increased myself max HP by 18%. So it's like, it's such a huge difference between ignore 3% per Falcon Strike on self to 6%, and I apply Falcon Strike whenever an enemy who is burned takes action. So like, that is a huge difference between that. So typically at 4 star, that's when most of the characters, SS rank characters, get their biggest upgrade to them. So the difference between 2 star and 4 star is huge. So I would recommend getting your main damage SS character to 4 red star, and then the rest of your characters will be either 3 to 4 S rank characters. Support characters don't really need stars, they're mostly there for healing, and then your tank just needs stars for stats. That's pretty much it. So they're low priority, so focus on your damage characters first is what I would recommend. You have your overview tab. If you click a character, you hit train, you will be given these 2 things. So these are the items that you farm during the normal story, or covert ops, which is basically the hard mode of the story missions. As you can see here, I need to beat chapter 17 in order to unlock that, or covert ops chapter 14. So it'll be quite a while before I get this because it's not currently in game, so I can't do anything. When I break through, you need to use these mats and the gold requirement, and then you use TacData in order to raise the character's level. I don't know exactly how much the stat increases are. It's not a lot. I want to say it's like 5% increase. For starring up, I'll have Vision tab here in my guidebook, which I will pull up, and this is going to showcase the reason why I say it's important to work on your SS and S characters first. For the support characters, the best S rank character to choose is going to be this one right here. Zealothy is just extremely good. She's a healer, but she's offensive focused. So you have Layla Pixel Beats and Plague Hunters. Both of these characters are fairly good. They are more support characters. I prefer Pixel Beats over Plague Huntress, but they're both good. If you have Catherine Dirty Gold, she's going to be extremely good. At 4 star, she's good. At 5 star, she's easily one of the best SS characters in the game. She's an awakened SS character, so you can only get her from very specific instances. You can't get her normally. That's one of the reasons why she's very good. She's difficult to obtain, but her skill set is very good. Her deal skill, favorable contract, like everything she has is just such a good kit. So with her, you can clear content that is up to 2 times your BR stalling with her, because you're basically turning the enemy against themselves. So you could use a very strong enemy and have them kill each other. This is the SS character I'd recommend building if you want another support and you don't want to use Catherine. Pixel Beats is who I'd recommend, then Plague Huntress. For tanks, you have Candido Iron Fist. He's just, there aren't very many tanks in the game. He is better than Frost Fortress in my opinion. Both are decent. Iron Fist is going to carry you more. For destroyers, Rick Gunblade, he's easily the top pick. These 3 characters right here, Pastoral Agents, Rick Skytrooper, and Lindsay Ambilight, all of them are fairly decent, but it's more difficult to obtain them for some reason for me. They're my lowest star characters. All of my other S characters are almost fully maxed or are already maxed stars. I don't know if it's just because their weight for the drop pool is lower for them, but Pastoral Agents you could farm every day from the Ghost Raid as well. Master Chief and Penalty Area King, these 2 are just not as good. I'd recommend Rick Gunblade for destroyers. For Assault, you have the 2 different Sakis, so you have Sakura Gari, and then you have Arashikiru. So between these, it depends on what your team is. I personally preferred Sakura Gari over Arashikiru for my team. Both are equally good, but I slightly prefer her more than Arashi. Lindsay Metal Panic is also decent, but she needs a specific comp for her to be run. It's just burn. So if you're just running straight burn from the beginning, then you don't really need these 2 characters. Then you'd be like you'd be running something like this instead. But that's more for a spenders thing. You'd skip these and just use one of these instead. Those are the characters. I'll talk about SS characters in another video. We covered the level up, we covered the star up. So it's roughly every 10 for the first 3 stars, red stars, and then afterwards it's every 20 shards. You're mostly just gaining stat boosts for every additional segment that you unlock, 5 segments, the stat boost, and then at the different skills you unlock. So you first unlock your awakening skill, your second awakening skill, and then you get these different types of modules, which are fairly important to get. Some of them are really good, some of them aren't as good, so it just depends. So you'll want to get all of your characters leveled up eventually, or start up eventually, just for these types of modules. Lindsay Metal Panic is one of really good ones. There's a chance to ignore all of the target's defenses, so that could easily double or triple a single target burst character's damage if they get proc the penetration. And then you get the better version of that at 3 red star, and this is going to be the same on all of the characters. The same unlocks 5 6-star normally, whatever, 2 3 4 and then 6 for the red stars. So once you've done that, we will cover the skills. This is interesting as well. It'll look a little bit different between something like this and then something that doesn't have any skills on them. It tells you what level character that they unlock the types of abilities on. So you have your unique skill, your basic attack, your passive, and then your ultimate. And the ultimate is the same on all of these. It's talking about the amount of energy you spend on them will change the effect. Right here, it's whatever, 263% with 3 hits, ignores 15% of the target's defense. If I use an additional character energy, it'll change it to 362%, 25% of the target's defense. If I do it again, 374%, so it's this first percentage skill usually goes up all 3 times. The second part of the skill usually only goes up on the second one. However, using 3 energy or full energy ultimate will add an additional effect. Usually, if you successfully kill the target, perform a follow-up attack with using an ult 1 attack. Yeah, you could really combo and change your gameplay mechanically, depending on how you utilize your character energy through these. So the way it works is you have your normal skills, which are going to be like these kinds of colors, and then you have your perfect skill codexes, which is going to be gold. So it's going to look like this. Perfect, it'll say here. So perfect ones, when you're upgrading them, it'll use these upgrade material right here, and you could add or remove, you could auto add. It'll automatically select below 50. The highest normal skill you could choose is a 59. The perfect skill codexes could go up to level 80 currently. That's the highest that you could reach right now. These, basically, the codes unlock the different tiers of your skills. So if I look at right here, currently it goes in increments of 10. So you have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. It's not additive, but it replaces the last similar effect. As an example, this level 20 is damage increases to 4.6% of own max HP. At a level 30 skill, it changes to 5%. So that's a 0.4% increase. So if I look at the next one, 5.4% of own max HP. So that's again another 0.4% increase. So if I look at it again, that's an additional 0.4%. So the circular ones are just going to be, you know, your basic effects on these. But when you go to every 20 levels, so that's going to be 40, 60, 80, that's when it does your secondary effect is going to change. These are the good benchmarks. So for most of the characters, their level 80 skill is going to be a massive difference. So if you look here, level 60 is the steel attack ratio is 18%. So it goes 15, 18, and then it goes straight to 30%. That's almost 2 times double from 60 to 80% when it was only a 3% increase from here to here. If you can, you know, get your modules to level 60 for the perfect ones, that's a good benchmark. Get all of them to 60 and then start working on 70. And then for your DPS character first, or your main damage character, get them to level 80, their ult. So right now my main damage character is Suzaku. So right now I'm working on her ult and I have these ones built up as well. I'm just lacking the materials in order to get these upgraded. This is one of the rarer types of materials in the game. It's just very difficult to have sources to earn this. So this is another mode the devs are going to be adding, which will help players and characters level up their skill codex. So that's pretty much all of these. Once you are upgrading them, if you have things above level 50 and your characters are all maxed out, you'll go here and select all and you'll auto add that. Typically when you're auto adding, it could only add in increments of 50 or 100 depending on which ones you do, and you could filter between the type of things you want to upgrade this menu, or you could just tap on it here as well. It depends. You can't change these ones because this is basically just showing the upgrade path. That's it for the skill for the implant. So this is another important one. As new players, you're mostly just going to be having maybe a blue or something. I wouldn't recommend I don't even think you can. You could just upgrade them. Yeah, you could get it to level 30. It's okay to upgrade it because it transfers over all of the experience between them. If I upgraded this to 30 and then I get another implant that I want to replace it with, a purple or something like that, it'll transfer all of the experience, or help the boost levels and stuff, over to it. It won't transfer over the stars, the boost levels, or anything. It'll just transfer the experience. If I have this right here and I equip this as an example, I'll switch it. It's now a level 30 of this. So as you can see, I did not gain any of the stars that were on this. I didn't gain any of the additional effects or anything, but I could switch back and boom, now I have my levels back. There are certain types of sets, so most of them are 4-piece sets. There's a couple of 2-piece sets as well. For purples, you'll only have certain types. You'll have 2% less damage, or you'll have damage is boosted by 2%. So these are your hard coding and your plural perception sets. These are the only types of purples you could get. Afterwards, that's when you start getting towards your yellow sets, and there's 2 different types of yellow set. There's yellow, I just call them like normal yellow, and then you have like exclusive yellow. They tend to have a little bit brighter scheme, as you can see here, versus this one, which is a little bit darker scheme. And so on these, they're typically 4-piece sets. The total amount of stars that you have on here will trigger additional damage effects, but you need to have the set activated in order to gain these effects. If you don't have the set activated, then you won't gain any of the effects. It might be better to use a higher star one of these purples if you have them over a low star of the yellows up until you have sets. Once you have full sets and then you're ready to swap over, that's when it's important. Another thing is, if I go back here, people are tempted to just hit equip all and it'll set this up. It's not worth doing that. It'll do it in the way where it selects the maximum amount of BR you could get possibly, but it doesn't give you the good types of sets. What you want is every time you get a star, it will increase one of these things. Since I got it like this, it's a HP and crit rate were already select, but if I have something that is only 1 star, typically golds will always come at least 1 star. They will always come at 1 star for purple and up, or blue will not have any. This is something that you could change between. So say I have a bunch of these hard coding modules. If if all of them are 1 star, the base stats and everything is going to be exactly the same. The only difference is going to be the star stat. Sometimes there's differences between the star stats. The higher the level, the greater the increase in the percentages of this increases from the boosts. I don't want this set. It is HP and crit, but if I look at this, this is also just crit. It's just a slightly higher amount of base stats that you get from here, but you also get the set effects. I don't want this, so I'm going to swap over to this, then I'm going to swap over to this, I'm going to swap over to this, maybe I'll leave this one here. 1, 2, 3, we'll swap over to this. I can't get a full set, but you can see the point. You want to try to get stars, and then sets, and then for your DPS character, then you'll start doing boosts and sets. This is something that you get asked about a lot. When you go to upgrade anything that is purple or higher, you could boost and you could star up. For whatever you want to star up, or you plan to invest in long term, I would recommend starring up first. So if I want to keep this item, I will upgrade it and I will star up from 1 to 2 star, and then I will start from 2 to 3 star. The reason why you do this is you unlock these stats and now your startup cost increases by exponentially. So it's like 1 cost for the first star, it's 2 for the second star, and then it's like 12 for the 4th star. Spending 3 these implants is worth doing it, so you're going to save on 12. The reason why is you have a 5% base chance to increase the star level when boosting. Every time you boost, this chance increases, but only increases when you didn't get a star up. If you did get a star up, then the chance will decrease back to its base. If I auto add, I have a 100% success rate to do this. It doesn't matter which I choose, whether it's a 3-star one, 1-star one, or whether it's matches the same type of stat, like a damage one. It doesn't matter. You will use purples in order to upgrade your yellows. So I don't have a red yet, an red exclusive, so I can't tell whether or not you will need gold implants in order to boost them. So you can gamble and go 50%, but you could do this. I haven't ever been successful when gambling, so I just tend to just go straight 100%. When doing it at higher levels, it'll require 3 and then 5 for boosts. When you boost, it increases the max level, because currently it's capped at 30, so that increases your base stats, as it shows here, and there's also this percent chance to increase the star. So the other thing to note is on some of these items, they'll have lucky clovers on them. So the only difference between this is the base stats on it are slightly higher, and you also have a doubled percent chance to increase the stars when boosting. So if at all possible, if you have 2 similar implants, that one has a lucky clover and the other does not, I would recommend using the lucky clover, because you have a higher chance of getting a star up. As you see here, it's 12 of these implants in order to get to 4-star. So because this is a boosted one or a lucky one, this chance is now doubled. So if I boosted a couple of times, it'll go 10, 20, 30% instead of 5, 10, 15%. So you can see that's a huge difference in being able to increase it stars wide. Eventually you'll get a whole bunch of these and they'll be lucky, and those will be the ones you want to focus. You have your normal yellow ones, and then you have your exclusive yellow ones. As you level it up and boost it, this will also increase your boost skill. Yeah, so it's 2% initially, it's boosted 6, so it's now up to 5.3%. So as you can see here, the amount of stars you have will increase the amount of damage. This goes like every 2, so it's like 2%, 4, 6, 8, and then 10% increases. Here it's the same thing. This is for a 2-piece set, and then if I have a 4-piece set, then I get additional bonuses, and if I have a full 20 stars it's the combined total of all of your implants within this set. Then you also gain additional bonuses and such. Whatever you have your base stats, and then your star bonuses. You also have exclusive red implants, which are character specific. So I only have one of those right now. I think it's Morgan. So if you look at this right here, specifically for her. However, there is a workaround. If you equip this character with the implants that you want, the implants that you want, and then you rebirth them into a different character, it will transfer over all of these implants onto that character. So that's the only way around it right now. So you have character specific, and it'll also be class specific on here as well. So it's quite nice to have these kinds of things. Very difficult to get. And that's it for implants. Basically, star up the ones you want to keep, and then upgrade. If it's like a purple you don't want to use, or if it's just like a common yellow, I wouldn't bother starring them up or boosting them too much. It's okay to boost them because that's just purple mats and you could get more of those, but the starring up is very difficult to get more of. Yeah, it's a very rare commodity. So the final thing that we could talk about here is the modules. So the way it works is you synthesize some of these. So I have some here. It costs the basic anima chips, and then you also have to farm for them. As you go through it, you could get 2, 3, 4, or 5 stars. So that's gold, yellow, blue, and green. Anyway, there's several colors. For these ones, you have more. You could get a gray on it as well. These first 4 are your basic ones, and then everything else is going to be your advanced ones. So you have basic modules, and then you have advanced modules. So I'm going to craft 2, and we'll see what I get here. So we got 2 of those green ones, and we're going to craft this. Oh, I got a purple one. That's pretty nice. Another green one and another purple. All right, so that was fairly good right there. Ideally, you want all of the oranges. The way it works is a low star character. Who is my lowest star character I have here? Eric. So you look at this, you need at least 5 star to unlock your, this is like character module. You have class module here in the middle, and then this is just like stats modules. So you need at least 5 star to unlock this. And then once you get more, so this is 5 star, I've unlocked 3 more slots, just going from 4 to 5 star. Another reason why it's better to use an S character over an SS character. If you have a 4-star S character, you're missing 3 module slots. You're not going to be able to do a whole lot with that. If you have a 5-star character, you're going to be able to do a whole lot more with this. Then you need, 2-star. So let me find a 2-star, so you get another slot, and then you need 4-star for this one, so let me find a 4-star. 4-star, and then you need 6 red star for this final slot. So let me go ahead and find, so there, now I have all of these slots open. So if I look at my Zealotry, so these are your passives. These you unlock from starring up your characters. Most of them anyways will come from right here. So you have your 3-star red, and then you have your whatever, your 6-star. So that's where you're going to get most of these. This is going to be your blues and your purples. Anything that is gold, that's going to come through events. It's going to come through additional rewards in the game. It's going to come through buying them, and those are your main sources that you get them. So let's go back to Zealotry. So something to note is if you have Zealotry here, and then I try to equip another Zealotry module, it won't work. You could only have one of each type, and that'll affect every single one of these slots. So you can't have the same slot twice. However, what will work is if you have something like this, when present all allies defense plus, this will stack if you have the blue version of Fortress, 5% defense on another character. But you can't have both on the same character. It's the same thing for these. So if I have this right here, which is HP 18%, if I try to select another slot, I can't put another HP 18%. I need to choose a different slot in order to equip it. But it will work is, say if I choose this one, I had a higher version of this available, then I'll be able to see it here. Specifically for this slot. But if I'm on another slot, I won't be able to see any higher versions of that because it's considered as if I already have it. So I won't be able to upgrade that as an example. You have the various types of stats. You have HP, attack, defense, and then you have like crit damage, crit rate, you have attack and crit, you have crit damage again, crit. So yeah, you have various types of things, and this is how you build the stats of your characters. So if I go back and look, you could see what you're getting from here. I'm getting 47% HP, which is good. She's a healer that scales based off of HP. Attack, defense, crit, and gene power are all also increased as well. So you can see all that from here. Class modules are probably one of the rarest to obtain. You can only get them from certain types of locations. Plan, you could plan, so if you want to say this is a healer plan, you could save that here, and then you could quickly swap it onto another character. Although this is kind of redundant because you could just rebirth a character and it'll do everything for you. But the nice thing about that is if you have similar stars, so this is a 6-star setup and you're trying to swap it onto like a 2-star setup or something like that, then you could use the plan and it'll transfer over a little bit more easily. Once I've synthesized and I have additional modules and stuff that I can't use, I will go through and I'll select them. I'll say, okay, I don't want you guys, and I'll go ahead and dismantle it. If you're choosing anything higher, then it'll pop up and say like, oh, are you sure you want to dismantle it? And you could say, oh yeah, sure. You can't dismantle any of these 5-star ones currently, which is kind of a bummer. Once you do this enough, you'll have extras, and then you just won't be able to use them anymore. You'll just be taking up slots. Another thing to note is you do gain additional bonus stats for reaching a certain amount of stars for your modules. So that is yet another reason why it's better to use an S character over an SS character when the SS character is at low stars. So if I look at my Zealotine, I'm gaining all of these right here for having 25 total stars. So once I reach 40, I'm gaining an additional 6% attack, 6% crit, and 5% defense. So that's going to give me 12% HP at 30 stars, which is really good. If I try to use like a low star character, I'm not gaining anything from here. I am gaining 2, so I could get at most 10 stars, which is 4% attack and 6% HP. So it's not a whole lot. I could easily gain crit, defense, attack, and another HP. So you're just missing out on additional stats and using low characters. Once you have these extra mats here, and then you can't use them, you'll go to exchange, and then that's when you could start swapping out for some of these or some of these. So that's the character combatant list breakdown. You have modification here, somewhat important. This is the main way that you're going to get these SS characters, is you're going to go here, you're going to click fission, and then you could go through and basically, if you have these mats and these mats, you could fission it, and the way it works is it's not taking this character and transferring the stars and making a higher tier version of it. It's just you have to have this character unlocked is the requisite. Doing so, you're basically using those materials to make a copy of a better version of the higher tier character. It's not replacing it, it's not swapping it, it's not taking stars and moving it, it's not none of that. You're just taking the materials and using whatever cybernetics, you're creating a copy of that character. So the best way to do that is to go to these blue selectors, you'll fission, and you could use this arrow key to swap between whichever one you want to do, and you could confirm and you could fission it this way. So if I am to swap over to my data sheet here, I will go over to my fission tab and I will show this off right here. So if you look at it, to fission an SS character, you need to do it 25 times. For S character, and for a SS character, you need to fission 12 times. However, if you look at the costs between them, to get a 10-star S character takes 3,400 of the basic anima shards, and it costs 170 of the components. Let's say to make an 8-star character cost 660. So to do even a 6-star character is 300 components. So it's almost double the amount of components that you need in order to make a 10-star S character than it is just to make a single SS character. So that is a huge difference, and so that's why I tell people yet another reason to focus on S characters, especially if you're free to play, just because you will be able to make like a 9-star or a 10-star S character before you can make a 5-star or a 6-star SS character for the most part. The only bottleneck between this is the basic anima shards. 8-star is a good stopping point for characters. You could even go 9-star. Big reason to go push for 10-star is for that second to last awakening skill bonus. So I would push to 10-star for your main DPS character, and then for everybody else, then you could just focus on bringing up to 8-star, and that would be fine for now. So that would be your tank, your healer, your support, those types of characters, just bring up to 8-star. As far as SS characters, you can bring one SS character as free to play up fairly quickly. I wouldn't try to do more than 2. You could have like a Taki Seiryu or Catherine Dirty Gold. They're both okay at lower stars. 5 stars is a good stop point for them. So they could be an alternative SS character that you could borrow up until you have built more characters and you progress further in the game. You could fission for this, choose the ones you want, it'll make copies, and then as you saw on that fission tab, let me swap back actually real quick, and then you could see how many shards. So fissioning an S character will give you 25 shards, so it's telling you how many times you need to fission it in order to reach these types of benchmarks here. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Let me swap back. Fission for the S characters first, from the A, so go from A to S, and then once you've chosen your main DPS, then you could fission from here. Basically, when you first start, you get a bonus 60% off. Rather, it's a 40% off, so it costs 60% less than what it would normally cost. So once you've done this, so I've fissioned her twice, so this is a 100% ratio, so it goes from 60% to 80% to 100%. The first 2 times, basically, you fission a character are going to have a reduced cost. Afterwards, then it's going to be the full price. So that's a very nice, neat mechanic that you could do from here. And then you could choose whatever the type of class from here. The only thing to note is that there's only 3 for each of these two S characters. So there's a couple of characters that you cannot vision, and that's also marked in my guidebook. You can check that out later. So Rebirth, this is only useful, in my opinion, if you're a new player and you've focused and you've leveled up like 6, 7, or if you've leveled up like maybe 7 or 8 characters. You only need 6 characters because you could swap between the characters at no cost using this second thing right here, the Inherit tab. So the way it works is it only transfers over things between the same class. So if I choose an Assault character, I could go here and I could choose another Assault character. I can't go from Assault to a Destroyer class. The only way to do that is to have a specific item, which is the reset key from the shop. Here it is, reset master key. So this allows you to cross transfer over. I have not yet bought one and have not yet needed to use one, but that's the only time you would use it, is that key when you're inheriting between different classes. Plowing through the last couple of things, you have keepsake. These are very important. As you go through and get these keepsakes, you will have whatever your rares, your S ones, and then your SS ones. Most of the SS ones are either bought or they're through special events, and so they give really good effects, like probability of orange module during module synthesis plus 20% increase, like Ghost Tide, like dimension chest drops are like +2. You get like additional tactical records. So these give like permanent account bonuses. The red or the purple ones will eventually unlock the system to be able to level these up, because as you can see here, they're currently level 1. And they will give additional effects depending on the type. These also give additional effects, but they are automatically 3-star. So once you unlock more, then you'll gain additional effects. So once we do have that level up system, I imagine it'll be better to level up these first, just because these are account-wide bonuses. But it's most likely to be very expensive in order to do that. So we'll have to see how it goes. As you equip stuff, it doesn't do anything, it's merely aesthetic. The only instance in which you see it is right here. You don't see that anywhere else in the game, which I think is kind of a bummer, where you could equip these things and change how you look, but it doesn't change anything as you're playing. So it's kind of a weird quality in order to do that. Yeah, your rares aren't going to have levels and they aren't going to have bonus stats, but your purples should have at least a couple of stats once it gets to 3-star. Until then, it's just going to be flat stats. So for every keepsake you get, if you click this, it should say, no, it was somewhere on here. I remember seeing it somewhere on here, but each of these, here it is. So each of these keepsakes grants different bonuses. So if you look here, 3 might, 3 durable, 12 protect, 3 effect, and 9 adapt. So all of these increase the level of your total keepsakes right here. As it reaches certain tiers, it will tell you the experience it needs in order to reach these tiers. You unlock these, which are additive bonuses. So if I look here, I'm gaining extra 25,000 attack, 1700, oh sorry, I said this is supposed to be HP, 1700 attack. You're getting actually speed and gene power from here, which are important stats. Speed affects turn order. The faster your speed, the greater the likelihood you go first. Basically, the higher speed character goes first, but you can't overlap. You can't be faster than a character and go twice before they go. That doesn't work in this game. Gene power is basically, it's both an offensive and defense. The greater your gene power, the more likely you are to apply a status effect in a debuff, the more likely you are to resist being affected by those effects. So a lot of people ask about that. These are going to be added eventually. You can't do anything with them. You have your console. This is your paid thing. As a free-to-play player, you probably won't get much. You might be able to, you might spend a couple of dollars. I think it's like $20, and you'll unlock like the first 3 maybe. I'm not sure, just because nobody has helped me track them yet, but they can be fairly good. This TacData is very good to do, especially for free to play. That's probably what I would use the most, is that one. And then as you get things, this is gold. This reduces the guarantee. Say you need 37 to get an SS, and you do this, and it'll now be 32 to get an SS instead of 37, so you reduce it. It's okay. This one is fairly decent as long as you have the Tesseracts. Usually I've gained 20 or 30 pools a week so far. I've run out of the free resources that you get, or like the one-time resources, so it's becoming a little bit more difficult to get them. Very useful. This is a very useful one. This is very RNG. You have a chance to get SS characters from this, but it's low probabilities. I don't know if it's better to do this or just straight up wish and then get a character, you know, because you could wish multiple times or reduce the chance multiple times and have 100% and just, you know, do 40 pools, or you could try to gamble on this and get a random character. So I don't really like this. This is probably one of the best things that you could get here, but it's super expensive. It's like $2,300 to get it, but for those who have reached this, this is going to be by far the best value for a spender, is this one right here. So this is very interesting. You have both a female and a male commander, and it's worth noting that their skills are actually different between the two. I would recommend using the male commander and leaving the female commander unleveled, because it changes certain types of mechanics. If you level them both up, you can't do speedrun mechanics as efficiently because sometimes you need a slower commander and sometimes you need a faster commander. They have a skill here that can basically make them faster. So that's why I would recommend just using the male one. When you change the prosthetic, this affects who is behind your team. Whichever one is in use will show up behind you, but you could also select in the formation whether you want to use the male or female one. So generally I will select this just because I prefer to stare at a female being a male than I do a male. I can still use this commander's skills in battle. So that's a nice little thing you could do. It's kind of annoying because in order to upgrade their skills you need to set and then go back, and then you could change their skills from like the copy card is the most important for the male commander. This basically lets you select a card and then you can create a duplicate of it. So it's very good to do for either a CC character or a damage character. It just depends on what you need. I don't know about the summon device thing yet. I don't have this unlocked, that unlocked. Don't have this unlocked yet, of course. And these are based on your keepsake traits. So it needs to reach a certain level. So right here I have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So this is the current max in game because I have pretty much every single keepsake unlocked except for 2 right now. So this is the current max in game. Once I reach level 30, then I will be able to unlock the next one. Then it's like 33, 36, 39. So typically you'll just have 2 of these leveled, and then you'll have one other one leveled up twice, and then a random one. You could check between the 2 different commanders. Just note that the copy skill for the main commander should be your priority. We've gone through that. Aid is kind of helpful in a sense where sometimes the event tab is bugged for people. It won't show, and so you could go to aid and then you could go there and it'll show you the event tab through the aid. Mine is just bugged and I can't, there it goes. So yeah, you can do event announcement and that'll help skip the bug. The how to improve, very easy to have everything be perfect except for the modules, just because that is the most difficult thing to farm for. And then this can show you where are the main types of places where you could get certain types of things. It's not very particularly helpful. I have a spreadsheet on my guidebook in which I'm tracking these, and that's going to be much better and more accurate breakdown for that. If you need to find something quickly, you can navigate through here. Database is somewhat important. There's a lot of bonuses that you could get here. So you have your archive. This is something that as soon as you unlock, you will have the characters, they'll say biography on them, and you could go here with your fate biography keys here. They unlock like every 24 hours or something like that, or 24 hours. And I'd recommend working on the SS characters ones first, just because they give not only shards, but they also give comp cores, which is a valuable source for free to play. Any character that has biography on it, it'll show like this, is a character you could use a fate key on. So if it doesn't have biography, then you can't use a fate key on it. So I currently have everybody done except for Alpha Wolf and Byako, because I don't have them unlocked yet. That's the archive. You have Animus Link, which is basically your total star level will give you just flat BR stats, and then it'll also give you special abilities. You could click here and see what all you're getting from it. So it's very minor, but it adds up, as you can see. So I'm gaining an additional 1700 attack. You know, that's a fair amount. It also like increases like all of my basic attack stats, which is the secondary number right here. This is the bonus that it's increasing off of this. Implant stats, code basic stats. This is is just stats on stats. You also get additional skills at 200. It's like 200, 300 for this one, and then I want to say there's probably one at 400. I'm just not even close to it yet. Destroying assault combatants when dealing skill damage. If they have already been damaged by them, they get an extra 7% damage. All friendly units receive minus 10% damage when their HP ratio in battle is higher than 80%. So like these are like account changing abilities. This is of course why it's important to eventually raise up all of your characters, but focus your main team first. You'll also have like Geek Secrecy, which is as you unlock certain types of characters, you have one-time bonuses, and then once you have all of the, I guess, the segments unlocked, then you gain a permanent just 10% stats bonus. You can have up to 70% stats bonus, which is, you know, that's a big increase for a game like this. Then you also have your Keepsakes collection, which is the same thing as the Geeks bonus one, but it's more difficult to have. They just give segmented bonuses. They don't give like a bonus for having everything that I've seen so far, just because I haven't unlocked it yet. I don't think it matters too much, like if there's a particular order to go through, just because you can't unlock everything yet. Once you can start unlocking things, and you could like choose a little bit better. Once we have more Keepsakes in the game, then it'll be more important in kind of which order you do, because some of them, like this is more like damage focused ones. Let's choose like another random one. This is more like just basic stats, like HP defensive stuff. You know, typically offensive stats are going to be better than defensive stats. And then you just have your regular archive. This is more like story stuff. So this is useful for checking out like what types of implants are what. And then you can see there's 2 different sets for exclusive implants. You can see they're like exclusive skill ones. There's only 1, I think, per. Assault is being the exception. I think there's 2 per them. And then each set piece has a different boost skill on. So it's worth noting that, you know, you could, despite it being, say, you know, a 4-piece set, if you have all 6, you're gonna get different boost skills on each of them. It's good to have those types of exclusive ones. So you have your your archive, your modules here. You could check and see what types of modules. It doesn't tell you like where you get them from, but it tells you the effect. It somewhat tells you like who they're good for, and for the most part it's kind of accurate, but just note that it's not all inclusive for these, as in these are just story stuff, which I don't care about whatsoever. And I think that's pretty much everything here in the game. You have your tasks. Try to do the daily tasks, all of them every day. Same for the weekly tasks, like those should be your focus. Make sure you save enough of your neurocons in order to complete these, because if you don't complete them, these are giving access pass XP for these ones, but this is also giving commander XP, which is at this level right here. The higher this level is, the better you are to progress in the actual story mode, because most of this is level locked by your commander XP or your account XP, whatever you want to call that. I guess we'll briefly talk about club. I'm sorry, Pepperlin. So you have your members here. I have a lot of AFK members that haven't played for a while. You could check the club log. If you're a club leader, you could like change your banner, your name. It does have a comp core cost. You could see the contribution. You could set like a very basic, I think like 21 characters or 40 characters or something here. It's really small. You could set however you want to have thresholds if you don't want people to join unless they're a certain type of level. Generally, I just did it by BR because that was more important initially. And then you could have additional things, like you could set a notice like, oh, hey, remember, so anytime somebody visits a club, this notice will pop up. Donations. Ooh, yes, more fuel. Don't mind if I do. You can donate 4 times per day. Then it costs gold, and then it starts costing comp cores. Typically, you want to do 3 donations a day. The reason being is, in order to use these support characters, as you're deploying them, if I say I want to deploy this, so this is what the default looks like. The default is 50 minimum and 100 total. In order to get 50, you have to donate 3 times. If you just donate twice, it's only 30 points and you're unable to borrow people's assists. So that's why you don't see a whole lot of new players using the assists as much, is because they aren't donating enough. They need to donate at least 3 times in order to get that. So it's a big thing. I just donate the full thing just because I am a spender. So I do have a little bit extra comp cores. This is one of the harder amounts of points to do. When you do donate using the comp cores, you're gaining far more resources. So you can see, 100, 150, 300, 600. You're gaining 6 times the amount for a 4th donation than you are for just a 1st donation. So it adds up. That's pretty much all the thing. You can't do anything with commission. Store just leads you to the guild store. For non-guild leaders, you're just going to use donation and support from here. They are adding 2 more modes in here. It's going to be like a PvE boss, and then might be doing like a PvP or like a guild versus guild. I don't know exactly yet how that'll work, but yeah, that's pretty much everything. You have your benefits. If you are spending, this is a decent value. I usually just choose the Awakened character, which is Taki right now. You can do like Vera, you can do like Catherine, but I tend to choose DPS characters first. I have been doing him from here. It does tell you it is a range. If I choose him, for example, and I go here and I choose, so I have a chance of getting one of the following randomly, 1, 2, 1, or whatever. Like 95% of the time is just going to be this first one. But note that each pack has different ranges, and so if I choose a non-awakened character and I go through and I check, it's going to have more options, 1, 2, 3, up to 4 shards, and then you're more likely to get some of these. So it just depends on what you want to build first. So this could change what you're focusing on, how you're focusing on it. You want to claim these both. You have, it's an 8-hour duration in order to claim them. You can retrieve lost ones from here. It'll store up to 5 days worth. If you don't log in for a couple of days, you'll have them, but it's very expensive to do it using comp cores. You might end up having to do it using secured coins. And then it was confirmed that despite it having an event time here, it is not actually timed, just because it's 100% impossible to finish it within the month time that they give. So ignore that as it pops up. I think that is it. It was a very long video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and most likely half of you did not stick around all the way, but if you did, I hope you learned a lot from this video, because there's a lot to be learned in the game. There's a lot that isn't covered, a lot that you have to learn on your own. This was a complete and entire breakdown, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Make sure to like, subscribe if you want to see more of this, or if you want to see something in particular or specific. Leave a comment below. I will definitely reach out, and you could reach out, DM me in game as well. Let me know what you want to see, and I will get it to you. We'll go ahead and end the video there. Peace.